All right, so if you're not squatting, if squatting is not a part of your program, it needs to be. If you say, my knees are messed up or I don't have the mobility, totally get it. We're gonna have some solutions for you here. But first we've gotta learn what proper squat form is, okay? And before you get alarmed, I'm not talking about, you don't have to do a 400-pound barbell squat. Not what I'm talking about at all, okay? But if I can get an 80-year-old woman, okay, performing some squats with some load, even if it's a 10-pound dumbbell, and just squatting with the proper patterns on a chair and then coming back up, it's gonna make a big difference in her life because it's gonna make her posterior chain stronger. And when you have a strong posterior chain, everything in life is easier, okay? People who are older, who lack independence, who maybe fall and can't get up, who can't get up out of a chair, strength training is vitally important to that population, okay? Strength training and this squatting is vitally important to the athlete population because of, they need to generate force from the ground and from the posterior chain. So squatting should be a part of everyone's program in one form or another. If you're a college football player, sure, go after the 500-pound squat, okay? If you are a 65-year-old grandmother who needs to pick up their kids and play with their kids, well, your squat's gonna look like a box squat with a 25-pound kettlebell in the front position, okay? Let's go over some of that. First, we need to quickly go over form. We want just wider than shoulder width, feet 30 degrees apart. Some people it's gonna be a little wider, a little more. Some people will be a little narrower and a little less. Females will always require a little bit wider of a stance. Generally speaking, wider than shoulder width, 30 degrees apart. Okay, we want an arch in our lower back. First movement is a little hip hinge backwards. Okay, then our knees are going to break along and they're gonna stay in line with our toes the entire time. So that when we are at the bottom of our squat, our knees are about as far apart as they can be, okay? Now, if you are a person who can't get to full depth and you squat like this, of course you can't because there's no room for you to sit down into. When we flare out our knees and we open our toes, we give ourselves space to be able to sit down into that squat. That's why we do that. We always squat below parallel because that's a safer position for our knees. If I have 400 pounds on my back and I'm squatting like this, that's a great amount of pressure on my knee. If I've got that same 400 pounds and I get below parallel, that knee is more in a neutral position now, and now I can fire my glutes to get back up to the top, okay? Our goal is always below parallel with the right form and with the right posture. I don't want you below parallel in that position. Keep a big chest, keep your back arched. And if you can't get below parallel with the right form, that's when we start to implement items like the box, where we keep perfect posture and we go as deep of a range of motion as you can handle. But again, our principles are wider than shoulder width, 30 degrees apart. Knees are flared out at the bottom. A good way to find your range is to take your elbows inside of your knees and then just adjust to what is comfortable. That's the bottom of your squat position. My posture is good, and from here, I am going to feel like I drive my lower back upward in this hip drive. Not like this, I keep my posture, but I drive, and up. I'm pushing from midfoot to heel. Pushing my feet and my legs into the ground, feeling like I'm moving the ground downward and pressing those hips upward. Make sense? I hope. Two different ways to squat. We have a front position where the weight is in front, and we have a back position where the weight is on our back, okay? When the weight's on our back, it's going to load our posterior chain a little bit more, our glutes. When the weight is in the front position, it's gonna load our quads a little bit more, okay? So if you're a beginner and you don't have the mobility to get all the way down there, maybe your knees bothering you a little bit, feel free to use a box, okay? We can use a box in this high position. When we use the box, we don't want to plop down on the box. We want to be very intentional about loading our legs, bearing the weight, then we barely touch that box, we release, onto the box, okay, because then we take the pressure out of our knees. Then let's re-engage the ground, take the weight out of the box, and then come back up to the top. When we get some more mobility, now we can go lower. Low, 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 low. Let the pressure come out of the knees onto the box. Now take the pressure off of the box and back into the legs. Up, 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 drive, 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 drive. And then always at the top, flexing the glutes as hard as we can. Okay? That's how we use the box. Now, with the barbell, again, we said we can use a front position and a back position. Okay, the back squat, well, I'll do a front squat first. Okay? Full front squat is going to look, now we can either use this front squat position, or we can use the Olympic lifting position like this. Same principles apply, but we're going to be a little bit more upright because it's a front squat. On the back squat, my spine's going to bend a little bit more. I'm going to drive with the hips a little bit more. The load is going to be more on my posterior chain and less in my quads. I want this bar moving straight up and straight down. Found the right position. Sit back a little bit and break the knees. Now, we don't have to sit down there like I did. I was kind of just demonstrating. In fact, my feet needed to be a little bit more flared out. I've only got quarters on each side. So what I'll often do when I warm up is I'll get down and then just kind of try to find my position, right? And that's what I was doing a little bit. We want the pacing of our squat to not be too slow, not be too fast. That's pretty obvious. But we want to caution on the side of intentional. We don't want to plop down and plop up. We don't want to be bouncing. It's about building strength. It's about building intensity, okay? There's a pretty good general introduction into the squat. Again, we're not starting here, guys. I'm starting my client on the box. I'm starting them with a body squat, making sure they have the right fundamentals. Working into the barbell. When they're using the barbell, we're working into the box. When they can handle that, then we're working the full squat. Progress slowly. Slow and steady wins the race. You'll be stronger and you'll be able to handle weight better throughout your workout career. It's about longevity.